Here he is, the most famous man from Oliver, British Columbia, the former executive producer of Hockey Night in Canada, his 100% Hockey podcast, 100% Canucks podcast, Mr. John Shannon. How are you?
I am well. Happy Monday, boys.
Yes, and you had the big report this morning. Braden Coots will be in the opening night lineup Thursday when the Vancouver Canucks begin their season at home here at Rogers Arena versus the Calgary Flames. Pray tell.
Well, we had Jimmy on our show a week ago, and he admitted that this was going to be a consideration, that they would spend the week discussing whether Coots would go right back to junior hockey or would he stick around a little longer. And then it became quite obvious on the weekend he was going to stick around a little longer. Then the confirmation today that, yes, he will, in fact, play on Thursday. Whether that means he's here for the season, don't get your hopes up. You know, there are some limitations. The 9-10 games are in there. But as far as pure excitement about what a guy has been at camp and how well he's played at camp, he's being rewarded for that Thursday night against the Flames.
Every year we get reminded, John, with injuries late in a training camp and preseason. You can do all the math at the start of a training camp or preseason. Oh, who's eligible for waivers? Who's waiver exempt? Who needs? And then often it sorts itself out with the guys getting a little bit nicked, a little bit dinged, and we'll see how healthy they are down the middle. But it sort of has just worked out perfectly for Braden Coots, his hard work to be rewarded here based on the way a couple of guys have been digged. And, of course, Niels Höglander gone for the foreseeable future here. So the planets aligned for Coots to at least last these 8 or 9 games, as you talked about.
Yeah, no, I think that's accurate. You do wonder if there is something wrong with Teddy Bluger. We have yet to hear anything about that at this point. But in so many ways, I think that even people inside the organization are pleasantly surprised with what Coots has done, and the fact that he's been put between Kane and Lekkerimäki on a regular basis now tells me that there's a great deal of confidence in what this young guy can do. He doesn't look very big to me, boys. No. He is still a teenager, but he's a smart hockey player, and everybody keeps extolling the virtues of his leadership. And if you can do those types of things and still play the game and play smart, then you've got a chance.
How much of this do you think is driven, John, by the Canucks' relative lack of quality or quantity at center ice? Like, do you think he would have made a team that had some better center icemen? And how much of it do you think is his right-handedness? He's the only right-handed center on the team.
I think the latter is a factor, Matt. I think being a right-handed centerman is key to this. Mind you, where is that most valuable in the face-off circle? I'm not sure he's learned how to win face-offs just yet against men, but there's certainly something there. And this is just me. I think we should probably enjoy Thursday night and then wait and see, quite frankly. And I know that there's a ton of excitement on the West Coast about him and what he's done, but it's, to me, it might be a classic case of flavor of the week.
People want meritocracy so badly here, John, and I've seen it on social already when I suggested I think he should go down just on Friday or Saturday, and people are just so livid that they've seen so much more, and yet, of course, the worry is this guy is just 18 years of age. He's not done developing, and he doesn't get to flex all the muscles if he makes the Vancouver Canucks. He doesn't get to play on power play 1. Doesn't get to be the top line guy playing 22 minutes a night like he will. And that's tough to reach your full potential as early as you want to when you don't get that opportunity here in your 18th year on the planet.
Yeah, and I think that will be the measure, over these next 3 or 4 games. I mean, if he's playing 8 minutes, Blake, it's not serving any purpose. It's not serving any purpose at all. And yes, it's great to have him around and learn how to be a pro. But something tells me he knows a lot about that stuff already, whether it be in Western League or whether it be playing for Team Canada. So from that perspective, the question will become, and it's something we might be even asking next week when we get together is 8 minutes in the NHL better than 23 minutes in the Western League. And I think at this point, when you're that age, it's 23 minutes in the Western League.
What do you think this says about Adam Foote and his staff, John, that they'd be willing, and this is a rookie NHL head coach, that they'd be willing to keep an 18-year-old center iceman into the season?
Well, the one thing I would say is that I think that people have been open-minded. I don't think it's an act of desperation. I think people are saying almost a little bit to what Blake talked about with a meritocracy, is he deserves it. And let's call a spade a shovel. If he deserves to be here, he deserves to be here. Whether he can manage being here long term when it means something is going to be the question. And if he ends up being on the ice on Thursday night against Nazem Kadri or Michael Backlund, they're not going to give him very much slack. They're not going to say, "Whoa, he's an 18-year-old and he's playing at home. We're going to be nice to him." It doesn't work that way anymore in the regular season. And so that will be the real challenge in the short term for Coots. Long term, it looks like a great pick. But you know what? It's almost too early to say anything other than let's enjoy Thursday night.
Hey, as you mentioned, you had Rutherford on your show recently. I know he spent some time talking about Adam Foote and his system. For those who missed, if you can take us back to that conversation. But as I listened, as I read through it, I get the sense that Foote may have a bit of a longer leash for offensive players, may have a bit of a longer leash for young players than his predecessor did. Fair?
Well, the key word in the discussion that Jim mentioned on 100% Hockey was he simplified the system. And perhaps that's paying homage to some of the creative players that this team has. When you have somebody of a Quinn Hughes, you give him a long leash. Perhaps they're giving Elias Pettersson a longer leash. That's not a bad thing. Jake DeBrusk, a longer leash. Even Brock Besser, give Besser more opportunities just to shoot the puck because we know how good he is. But to me, the word that jumped out from Jim on our show was simplify. And that then pushes back to me, that tells me that he is trying to let the players dictate a lot more of the play rather than X's and O's on a whiteboard.
We are 9 months away from Quinn Hughes being eligible to sign a contract extension.
Why you got to go there? We were having such a lovely conversation about the season ahead.
No,
John's last...
it's not all bad, Matt. Hear me out.
John's last appearance on this show, he said, let's stop talking about Quinn's future. Let's enjoy this season. And you go right back into the gutter, Blake Price.
It's not the gutter. Hear me out. Hear me out. Did we get a new template for show me contracts for incumbent superstars today with Connor McDavid's ultra discount for 2 years? Could we see something similar for Quinn Hughes as he says, if I'm going to commit long term, I need to know that you guys know what you're doing. Sign me to 2 more years. Is that possible?
I tried, John.
I mean, who knows? First of all, I think the Kaprizov deal last week was not a blueprint for anybody else. It may be a blueprint 2 years from now, but it's not a blueprint right now. And I don't think Connor is such a unicorn. I mean, Connor's now, by the time this contract comes into play, Connor may not be, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, he may not be in the top 15 of top paid players, highest paid players in the league.
It's true.
I mean, Connor McDavid.
Yeah,
because Connor has set the rules of engagement about winning the Stanley Cup in Edmonton. That's what he's done, and he's given them a timetable of 3 years to do it. This year, which is under the old contract, and then 26, 27, and 27, 28. Then all bets are off. And by the way, I am not prepared to talk about Connor McDavid's renewal on this show either 3 years from now.
No, we won't do that countdown just yet.
I want to know. I might go. I might go to a gambling site and say, when's the first time somebody's going to bring up when will Connor renew? Because and listen, we did the perfunctory thing that every Canuck fan expects. Is we did ask Jim about it, and he said the same thing I said. There's nothing they can do right now. They can create a relationship, which they have between Quinn and Pat Brisson and Jim and Patrick, but that's all they can do right now. Mm-hmm. And I do think there are mitigating factors, quite frankly, in the Hughes family budget than there are in the McDavid budget.
How pissed off is the NHLPA that Connor signed for such a light AAV?
Well, I think a little ripple. It's fascinating. And I don't mean this to become a promotional tool for 100% hockey, but Ron Hainsey was on the show on Friday, and we asked him what the involvement of the Players Association is in contracts, and he really downplayed it. He said, "Yes, we don't give them near the advice. I think now, because 50% of HRR goes to the players. It doesn't matter which player it is. If Ron Hainsey's, right. If it's not going to Connor McDavid, it's going to go to Trent Frederick, or it's going to go to to Ike Howard. I mean, it's going to go to another Oiler. So from that perspective, it doesn't matter near as much anymore now that it's a 50-50 split. Do I think other agents are angry?
Well, except, yeah,
I do.
Except for John, there's. I mean, you say 50% go to the players, but there's nearly $250 million in unspent money across the NHL. Wow. And I thought, with Kaprizov really putting the screws to Minnesota and some of these other high-end players, McDavid, Eichel, who have not yet signed, I mean, it seemed like there was, if not a coordination, a coincidence that all these top players would be holding out and fear of losing their clubs.
Yeah. It's a good point, but I just don't see it. I think that there are other things, because if you want the big boys to get it, then the middle class and the entry level guys aren't getting it. And the unrestricted free agents that are looking for jobs like Jack Roslovic aren't getting it. So, you're the NHLPA for all players, not just for the superstars.
Jackson Lacombe is barely getting paid more than or less than Connor McDavid. Like it's the fact that he's within arm's reach of Connor McDavid is a little bit odd. But I think it's so crazy, John, that it just gets thrown out as a unique situation of a guy clearly saying, this is Sidney Crosby going 8.7 for eternity, right?
It is exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. And the one thing I would tell you is that I was told last Wednesday that, that number 113, it's going to be in year 3 of these 3 years of the CB of the cap. Mm-hmm. It could be closer to 125. So it could be going up a lot faster than people realize, which then 3 years from now will open up a lot more money for a guy like Connor McDavid, who will still be into his prime, in his early 30s, ready to rock and roll.
Do you say that big bump because of expansion fees to Atlanta and Houston?
No, because that's not HR. That's not HRR.
That's not HRR. That's outside. Right. That's right.
That's outside. That's the owners. Just
although they do. Yeah. Well, yes. Although when they come into the league, conceivably that's an extra $200 million a year for them to spend.
What'd you make of the Bucci?
And an extra 100 jobs for NHL players.
Bucci Gross tweeting about those two markets again over the weekend. Is there anything to that? Is there traction happening there?
I didn't see John's tweets. What were they?
Just, they're cryptic. I mean, him and Kevin Weeks have been doing this throughout the process here with those two markets.
Well, the Atlanta and Houston.
Atlanta and Houston, yeah.
Well, what I can tell you is that the Atlanta people have not met with Gary and Bill yet.
Okay.
They haven't met yet, so.
My last question for him is his Canucks prediction. We're doing this with all our guests this year. So Mr. Shannon, a point total and where you think they'll finish relative to the Pacific and Western Conference.
Well, in honor of who signed today, they're going to get 97, and they're going to finish third in the division. Make the playoffs.
Okay.
Brilliant. We'll put you down for it, and when we tweet it out, all the people who think the Canucks will be better than that will send you angry replies, okay?
Hopefully they don't treat you like the CBS analysts that pick the
works.
Yankees over the Jays. Those guys are not doing well today. Yeah.
Yeah. Could a best of 5 series end in 2?
Yeah, you should be able to buy.
It sure seems that
You
way
should
in
be
your
able to
town
buy.
today, John. Yeah. Great stuff, John. Thank you for this. Until next week.
See you, boys. Cheers.